Welcome to the LFG Pats Pod with your hosts, Joe and Mike. Let's go!
All right. Welcome into the LFG Pats Pod. This is episode 14. And we're so close, guys, to being out of this dead zone. We got the All-Star break in baseball. We got absolutely nothing going on. I think Caitlin Clark was in town for a game. That might have been the biggest thing in
last night, yeah.
Or was they playing Boston?
It's the last filler episode before we get to the meat and potatoes of the actual training camp.
It's been hurting. But so we got a special guest. We got Anthony Gaines, my old college roommate from Nichols College. We were both Nichols Bison for, I played for 2 years. I think, Ant, you played for 4.
I did.
But welcome in, Ant. Anything you got to say? Anything?
Yeah, thank you, guys. I appreciate you guys having me on. Joe, you and I have had plenty of conversations about the Patriots and football in general, man. So it's good to talk officially, let the people see what we talk about.
So, Anthony, did you guys play the same position, or how did you guys match up on the field when you played together?
Receiver.
Yeah, I played running back. So we're on the same side of the ball, but definitely different position. Right. Yeah.
All right, I thought you guys might have had head-to-head back. You both look like skill position guys, so maybe I thought maybe offense, defense. Maybe you might have some battles. But
well, I think the question is, Joe, if we did go against each other, who would win that matchup?
I mean, right now, forget it. It's you all day long. I've seen pictures of you. I'm sure you've seen pictures of me. I mean, I'm not like a slouch or anything, but I'll blow an ACL so fast your head will spin.
Oh, yeah. We don't want that. We don't want that at all.
No. So but I think when it comes to Madden, we'll get into that though. But so before we get into all this, we have to talk about our sponsors. So we have 2 great sponsors, Rogue Island Kitchen and Bar. If you're in the arcade and if you're in the Providence at all and you're around the arcade, which is, Way Bossett Street, it's, right around the,
downtown
Providence Place area. Check it out. It's an amazing place. 50 plus craft beers on tap, all local food. It's amazing. Tell Ryan Bissett, Joe and Mike sent you. He'll hook you up with something for sure. We actually have a great event coming up October 5th. So we're going to tailgate the away game for the Bills. We're going to have a live podcast. If you buy swag, you're going to get a ticket to that event. It's going to be amazing. But yeah, Rogue Island Kitchen and Bar. And then Impact Brand and Marketing. So we keep saying swag forthcoming. A lot of orders have come up. It's been great. There's been a little snag with getting the orders out, but they'll be out this week. So I've talked to the team. We got a bunch of free T-shirts coming in that we're going to be bringing to training camp. So we're going to have some, little guest spots. We're going to have some interviews.
We promise. The swag's coming. We promise. The swag's
so
coming.
Close.
The anticipation is killing everybody.
It's killing everybody. Indeed. Yeah, everyone. Anyways. But yeah, so Impact Brand and Marketing. If you need any T-shirts, hats, you name it, these guys have it. It's they have it ad nauseum if you go to their store. So, all right, so we have a great episode today. I think what we're going to focus in on giving training camp is next week. It starts next Wednesday. I think it's Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday. I'm pretty sure. I don't know if it's a Sunday session. The schedule, we'll post it out just in case anyone hasn't seen it, just so everyone has it. I don't know if the timings are out yet.
It usually starts at 10:30 in the morning.
So we'll be there bright and early. And we'll
be there earlier than that. I'll tell you that much.
Yeah, we'll be there as early as possible. I want to talk to people waiting at the gate. I want to talk to people after. On Thursday, we're actually going to have a live podcast. There's like 3 or 4 podcasts that'll be there on Thursday. So we're going to have a live podcast in the parking lot, talking to fans, talking about what we saw at practice. And, so it's going to be like, we're going to go from having no content and nothing going on to just
too much content.
All the content.
And we can't wait. We can't wait for that.
So let's just get right into it. Ant, tell me what you are really looking like. What's one of the top things that you're looking for at training camp?
Yeah. So, I think we're at a really good point in our Patriots fandom where we have a lot to look forward to. So the biggest thing that I'm looking forward to is the offensive line, right? Like, I know it's not the sexy thing to talk about, but as a true Patriots
I love
fan,
I love it.
Absolutely.
He does the skill stuff. I do the trenches. Like
you hit Mike's hot button.
Absolutely.
There we go. Well, as we know, it's the offensive line that leads to everything else. So really looking to see if we can get some consistency with the offensive line and all of these different pieces that we've surrounded Drake May with on the offensive line and seeing how they all work together. So, we got our first draft pick, Will Campbell. It looks like he's been a plug and play player so far. I think he's looking pretty solid at holding down that left tackle spot, but really that left guard spot, right? Like who's going to step in and take over there? Like that's really the biggest issue that we're looking to get solidified there. So I would love to see what Cole Strange can do, former first round draft pick. I think, obviously coming off the injury, we're looking to see if he can regain some form. But I mean, that's really the biggest thing is, can we get some consistency on the offensive line there?
He's exactly right. And the one thing that we're questioning, everybody's looking at the left guard position. Who's going to play left guard? You know what I mean? Will Campbell, I don't care what people say, and I'll ask you about that in a minute, Anthony, but I think that just what you said, a plug and play left tackle. I don't care about the arm length or the shoulder width of all that crap. I've seen him play at LSU against the highest competition. I've seen it. So I don't doubt that kid. I don't necessarily love what they have at center right now. I think Garrett Bradbury is a downgrade from David Andrews, but the kid they drafted, Jared Wilson?
Jared Wilson from Georgia. Yeah.
He's gonna be a future stud. So I'm looking forward to him. And we know the right side is already protected. You got Onwenu, and then you got Morgan Moses, who's a crafty vet. But at left guard specifically, Cole Strange, he played well in his first couple of years. He had the patella tendon. That's obviously a big blow. It took him a long time to get back, but he's lost a lot of weight. He needs to get back up to playing weight for that guard position, which has my eyes are straying to a guy like, the guy I love, Jack Conley, the undrafted guy out of BC. He is an absolute mountain.
He looks like
and he can just
Game of Thrones.
Yes.
if you look at him next to Cole Strange, you think they play two different positions.
Yeah, it looks.
And they don't. So I'm just Anthony. I'm interested to see. Would you prefer the road grader like a Jack Conley, or would you prefer more of a pulling guard like a Cole Strange, more mobility?
Yeah, so I think it really all depends on what type of run scheme we want to run. So if we can run a zone run scheme where we need to have some athletic guards, I would probably prefer like a Cole Strange who can maybe move a little bit more. But if we want to get a downhill run like a mauler in there, then it looks like Jack Conley is going to be that guy. So my preference, I like having my running backs having a two-way go. So I would probably prefer to have Cole Strange in there to be able to get to the second level and
pull around and lead those guys around. Yeah,
I love seeing a guard 30 yards downfield knocking down safeties. Right. So if that's the case, then I think I'd probably rather have Cole Strange in there. But it's hard to argue with 6'7", 330 pounds at any position.
Him at rookie camp next to Will Campbell. I'm looking at these pictures and I'm like, this is ridiculous. This looks like two refrigerators.
It's like a mountain range.
It doesn't make any sense.
Yeah.
But what makes me angry about this left guard position is how we didn't re-sign Joe Tooney. I feel like that was a low-hanging fruit. If we would have just
Joe, you got to let that go.
I know. I hate it. It just makes me angry.
It's been like 2 years, Joe.
I know, but we let him go. But then he came back available, and I think where did he go, to the Bears?
He got traded to the Bears.
Anyways, I'll digress. But I think you guys are right. I think when it comes down to it, the center of that offensive line, Garrett Bradbury, he is what he is, right? He's a bridge, right? He's a bridge into Jared Wilson. They're talking about Jared Wilson? Will he start out as left guard? That could be a thing too. So that guy is a Raz freak. That guy's like a 9.97 or something.
Dynamic athlete.
He is super fast. He runs like a 4.7 40 or 4.8 40.
That's pretty fast for that large of a man.
Well, it might be 5'1", but still, I mean, you're talking like
it's 4.3, it's 4.6, it's 4.8.
One of those four.
Milton Williams ran a 4.6 40.
He did.
So these guys can move that fast. But anyways, I think that's got to be everyone's, like you said, it's kind of like the linchpin of this offense and how it's going to run. Are we going to get another half second for Drake May to be able to make a decision before he has to scramble? Can he get through 2 or 3 reads before he's got a man in his face?
And that's the problem. Garrett Bradbury was rated as the worst passing center in the league last year. So that's the question mark for me. For sure. I understand that Vrabel and first of all, I love Mike Vrabel. Let's just get that right out of the way.
100%.
We're gonna talk about him, but he made a very concerted effort to get the leaders of the previous iteration out of the bucket, out of the mix there. And I think David Andrews, you might have made a mistake on that one. Like,
That's tough. That's brutal. For sure.
I agree. Yeah, and I think, you know, after we drafted Jared Wilson, I did a little bit of research on him. From my understanding, he might be one of the steals of the draft, just in terms of his potential and what he can do at getting at the second level from the center position. So I know he's going to be a little bit raw coming into camp, but if he can push Bradbury and ultimately vie for that starting position, I think that's going to help solidify the offensive line in total.
So do you think that he could legitimately win the position in training camp?
I don't. Well, based on what you just said about Bradbury being the worst rated, you know, if we want to pass, we need to protect the pocket. So if he's not getting the job done, I think Vrabel's showing he's not afraid to put a guy in there that he knows can actually get the job done.
Yeah, Jared Wilson was widely considered the top pure center in the draft. And it wasn't even like a secret. It was the fact that, and then I think it was the Forge in Foxborough episode 1. I forget the scout's name, but there was a scout that was looking at Elliott Wolf and saying, "Take him now." Like this kid did a lot of work, like you said. This kid did work with him and looked at him for probably a year or more.
Well, scouts love their guys.
Well, right, you fall in love, but essentially he's like, this guy should be gone. Go get him now. So anyway,
but the difference is between our scouting department now and our scouting department under Belichick, he would discard people's whole season of work just because he liked the way the kid interviewed. N'Keal Harry would come to mind immediately, and there's several.
Oh, that's an interesting
Brown,
name there.
Deebo Samuel.
Yeah. So, but now they're actually taking the scouting reports and this is the scouting, and they nailed the draft for a first time, in my opinion,
absolutely,
for the first time in a long time. So the scouting department, it's important, Bill. Okay,
exactly.
So, and it's what we should do with Garrett Wilson. They were like, this guy is he's falling. We're gonna trade up for this guy. They got him in the 3rd round for crying out loud.
Yeah, there's a reason why you spend so much money and time on your scouting department, right? So, you would be a fool not to let them do their thing. And when they make a recommendation of a guy who, you think you should draft, you should take him. So I 100% agree with you, Mike. I think we nailed this draft, from the top to the bottom. So
this guy, I mean, it's just everything fit into place.
It did.
We got value, we got need. It's where need intersects with value. That's where I see the win. And we did that on almost every single one of these picks. And I haven't been able to say that for a long time. And it gives me a lot of optimism about this coaching staff and the front office.
So, and to talk about the draft, and this kind of dovetails into our next kind of topic, not topic, but, things that we want to look out for. Trevion Henderson was probably, I love the pick. After the more I thought about it, the more I was like, okay, this makes a lot of sense. Josh McDaniels, we need electricity on offense. And I didn't know we were going to take a running back that high. But now I want to talk about this second round. We talked about in our last podcast, this second round conundrum that we have.
It's becoming a big deal.
And it's getting worse, right? Because you got Quinton Judkins, who just got in trouble. Lord knows what's going to happen there. Is he going to get suspended? What's going to happen? But he was the next kind of shoe to drop because he was the 36th overall pick.
He was 36. You're right.
So you got the Browns and everyone else saying, well, if this guy just got a fully guaranteed contract, now I'm hosed. I'm screwed. So now everyone's going to be sitting on it and saying, and then we get training camp. Some teams have already started training camp, and they have second round picks that aren't playing.
And the worst part about
Trey Harris on the Chargers, he's not playing right now.
I have to point out that the worst part about all of this is the fact that Judkins has not been charged or accused of anything yet.
Fair.
Therefore, it's like we see this all the time. We saw it last year with Julius Peppers. He missed most of our season for something that was nothing, that somebody was trying to blackball him or blackmail him or something like that. So this Judkins thing, we don't know if he's guilty or innocent. Okay, I'm not going to pass judgment on that, but just the fact that it happened it
muddies the water.
What you just said,
it's not a good look at all. It's not a good look at all.
It's not, and it may or may not be his fault, but it's still going to affect every single person after, because he was the 3rd second round pick, and the first two guys. No, he was the 4th second round pick, and the first two guys got guarantees, and then Nick Emenwari, the safety, went right before Judkins, and everybody's waiting for his shoe to drop.
Right.
See if he's going to sign for fully guaranteed money. So now we're in a conundrum here with Travion Henderson, plain and simple.
Yeah.
Which sucks because that's a huge. I mean, obviously the receiver. We'll get into that. The receiver position.
We're very high on Travion.
But we're very high on
Travion. Yes, absolutely.
And he brings something to the table that we absolutely need. We need this is, I wouldn't even say, I mean, James White obviously is a legend. Shane Vereen, all these guys are legends, but this guy's like, he's on another level.
I would ask the question, when was the last time we had a running back that could take a swing pass to the house, or even, hit the hole and, house the ball 70 yards? It's been a long time, and I really can't think of a name to stand out right away. But as soon as we picked him, I was like, man, I love the pick for what the offense is trying to be,
Yes.
I agree 100%. And not only all those things he said, but he also happens to be the best passing back, pass block back coming out of the draft too. So
0 fumbles is, I think, last year for sure. I don't know if it's his entire career, but
I don't know the
0 fumbles last year for sure.
Really?
I know that.
Well,
he's a plug and play guy. He's a 3-down guy as far as I'm concerned.
And when you compare that to Ramondre Stevenson's fumble problems, that's really attractive. It's a guy who hasn't come in with any fumbles. So
exactly.
Joe's got Ramondre on the shortest of possible leash.
I don't blame you, Joe. I don't blame you at all, man.
It's tough. I was talking about this the other day. It feels like kind of Lawrence Moroney, where like Lawrence Moroney to me had a great year.
Started out great.
This guy, you couldn't tackle him on the first tackle. You never got him. And then year 2, year 3, it just was like a cliff. He fell off a cliff. And now Ramondre, obviously he's got a lot of personal stuff going on. Lost friends, lost his father. He was out of shape last year. Who knows? The team was, clearly what it was. He came into camp. He looks like he lost about 15 to 20 pounds. So that's good because he lacked that burst. But that could also hurt his
durability,
his durability,
and his trucking,
yards after contact.
Yeah, so I mean, yards after contract. I like that even better because
yes,
he's got a big contract, and now he's not getting those yards after that contract. Way better.
So there's 0 yards after contract.
Yeah, exactly.
All of it.
Great, happy mistake there. We have to make a clip of that. But no, so like to me, like that now the running back room at camp gets really interesting because our other darling that we really like is Lan Larison, and so if you don't have Travion taking reps. And you got Ramondre kind of pigeonholed into a first down role. If we're
you really can't have him on the field third down, because his pass blocking is kind of iffy too as well. So
so it's like now what is? I mean, I love Antonio Gibson. Don't get me wrong. I think Antonio Gibson was a stud for us last year. He was probably one of like the unsung heroes of last year, if there was any. But so I don't know. What do you think?
I first of all, I love Gibson. Okay, I think he's a great all around back. I love Travion Henderson. That I like Ramondre in an early down back role, but he can catch the football.
He can,
but he's not going to be just like Anthony said. His pass blocking is suspect, and sometimes the effort, you can see the effort maybe isn't always there. That's why they draft a guy like a Travion Henderson. But and Anthony, I don't know if you probably haven't talked to Joe about this, how high we are on the Lan Larison kid.
Yeah, give me your thoughts on him, Joe. What's your fascination with this gentleman?
I mean, the guy, it's one of those situations where based on what his production was in college and his profile from an athletic perspective, it's hard to see this kid not be successful at some layer of the game. And for me, this year it could be special teams. Mike Vrabel was a huge special teams rat. Like they couldn't keep him off the field. They were like, he's like, I got to do something. ADHD or something. I don't know. But you have Lan Larison, to me, is like, if I'm going to build for the future, if I'm going to take a guy who I paid a lot of money as a UDFA, and I'm looking at a guy like Ramondre Stevenson, like which of these things don't fit? You got Lan Larison, who does it all. He high points balls one-handed, is a receiver. I saw him catching fades in his film last year. I mean, he catches the deep corners.
He throws touchdowns.
I mean, this guy does everything.
All of it. Yeah.
And then you got Antonio Gibson, who is a Swiss Army knife himself. That guy,
he played really well last year.
Yeah, and he can run between the tackles, and he can run on the outside. He can run in zone runs. He can catch the ball and go 60 yards to the house. He did that last year. And then you got Travion Henderson. Which of these things don't fit, right? And so, like, if I'm McDaniels and Vrabel, I'm looking at it and going, Give me the guy with higher upside. Ramondre, I'm already paying you. They could trade Ramondre Stevenson and make, I think they only lose $1 million in cap space. If they drop him, they lose $6 million in dead cap space. But I don't know. I think he's on the outside looking in if he doesn't have a good camp and doesn't have a good game or two.
Well, like I tell you, running back rooms, Anthony would know better than anybody that running back rooms are fluid, and guys get banged up constantly because you're always toting the rock. You're always taking contact in one form or another. So it's fluid. So you need different guys to cycle and rotate in and out. The trouble with the NFL is we can't stash a Lan Larison on the practice squad.
No, he'll be gone.
No, somebody's going to see his film. Somebody's going to want to take him. So it is one of those things where having him contribute on special teams would definitely be a way to get him a role. I do think that Stevenson, when you combine his fumbling issues that he's had, I think it does make him an easy target to be a guy on the way out. I think the Travion Henderson situation, when I say situation, meaning being signed and getting into camp, that could be a potential issue, right? Because as you know, as a rookie and especially that position,
you got to get in camp.
You got to be in camp. You need reps. You need to see the blitzes so that you can pick them up efficiently. You have to know where you need to be on the checkdowns, and all of those things are quality reps that he's going to miss if he's not in camp. And as you know, Robert Kraft, he's had a successful run as the owner of the Patriots, but he's not about following the trend. So just because somebody set the precedent of giving a second round pick a completely guaranteed contract, I don't think he's going to be the first one to get on board with that to continue that trend.
I agree.
Yeah.
So it's a sticky situation, but there's also opportunity, right? Like we definitely need, for us to be what I think is a 9, 10, 11 win team. We need Travion Henderson to fulfill that kind of destiny.
I agree. Absolutely.
It's so important for a rookie to be in camp right off the bat. They lose so much when they don't get in there right off the bat. So
many different blitz, pick up the protections. There's a lot of things that between him and Drake May, they have to build that, right?
And with all the money getting thrown around, just give the kid the guaranteed money. Just give him the damn money, man. He's gonna live up to it. Like you can't hedge your bets on every single possible thing. You drafted this kid very high, okay? So 38, that's a borderline first round pick to me, okay?
Absolutely.
So just give the kid his guarantee and let's get into camp and let's get down to business.
And I'll say this too, going back to what we talked about your scouting department. If your scouting department has done their homework and look, guys are going to do whatever they want to do on their own time. So things are going to happen off the field, right? But if you have trust in your scouting department that he's a good kid, he's a hard worker, you've interviewed him, you've interviewed his high school coaches, give him the money, bring him in, keep him close to your program and develop him. And I think that's the easiest way to kind of keep this train moving so that you can have a good, successful season.
And I really think that's a linchpin of the Mike Vrabel coaching system is he talks about developing a relationship with the player first. Okay.
Yes, absolutely.
Talk about the player, understand the person, and then you guys get down to brass tacks on the field.
And Trevion's he is literally like a man of God. I mean, he is like
Mike Vrabel is Ohio State, for crying out loud. You think
absolutely.
he doesn't know? You think he doesn't know Travion Henderson?
Absolutely.
You know what I mean? Like,
100%.
I'm not worried about this kid at all. Mike Vrabel's not worried about this kid at all.
This kid is as wholesome as a kid as it gets. I mean, I've watched his interviews. I'm like, this kid is like a good.
Love to
kid.
see it. Absolutely.
Love to see it.
And you see all these dysfunctional, the Browns and et cetera, just mismanaged situations due to lack of communication and not being full transparent. You know what I mean? Not being transparent with their players and vice versa, and not having a two-way dialogue. Vrabel has that. He has not only does he have an open door policy, he has an open me up policy. Come get me. I got the pad right here. All right, you want to get down to it? Let's get down to it. Okay?
What player?
Yeah, go ahead.
I was gonna say, what player doesn't want to play for a guy who would literally get in the trenches with you?
That's
You know,
gonna fire you. That has to fire
Has
you
to.
up. You know what I
absolutely.
mean? Like that energy is infectious, and I really feel like it's gonna change the whole culture of the Patriots around. I don't think I'm overstating it. I'm sorry.
No, he's our Dan Campbell, is what he is.
Yes.
He's Dan Campbell. He's like, I'm gonna be in everyone's face. Everyone knows what I want. I want to be. He said he wants to be violent. He wants to be all these things, and it's
Yes.
great. I think it's nothing but good. All right, so Mike, I don't think you gave us a topic. Give us what's your next. What's something you really want to see in training camp?
Well, I mean, I have a couple different things.
Pick whatever your favorite one is.
Honestly, I would prefer to talk about Keon White.
Let's do it. Yeah,
Let's do it.
Keon White, it to me is an enigma.
Mhm.
I loved the draft pick. I've loved certain portions of his production in the past couple of seasons. I think that he was, and I could say that about a lot of guys. He was very poorly coached last year and a little bit mismanaged and did not exactly have a complete role or understanding what his role was. And he voiced that. He said it
Yeah,
too.
he flat out said
And
that.
he wasn't.
I
He
feel like I'm
wasn't
being actually coached this year. Is
Yeah,
something.
exactly. Like they're telling, like Mike Vrabel played that man's position. You know what I
Yeah,
mean? Like he knows
absolutely.
when to get the hand in the dirt or go outside and stand up or even reduce down on the inside. So to me, Keon White is going to be the Swiss Army knife of the defense
Yeah.
because you can't really pigeonhole him. Is he an edge? Is he an interior rusher? What is he? You got Harold Landry on one side. And then you got the two studs, Barmore and Williams, in the middle. That's going to wreck shop. I don't care what anybody says. That might be one of the most devastating interior pass rushes in the league. I know I have rose-colored glasses.
No, I'm with you. Yeah.
But
we all do.
I feel like it's going to be a fantastic combination. And then who's on the other end? They have Anthony Jennings, who was a great early down edge setter, and he's still in the contract. They gave him a contract a couple years ago. I like him. But who's better at that role right there? The first down run stopper role, setting the edge. Is it Keon White or is it Anthony Jennings? And when we get into a passing situation,
What do they do with him?
I just told you that the two guys we have inside are the two best interior pass rushers in the league. Keon White does his best pass rush work on the inside. He's not a bender. He's not an edge bender. You can't get around the edge. He's 6'5", 290.
Right.
For crying out loud. He's a huge kid. So how are they going to use that guy is going to be a really interesting story point for me as far as when the season opens. And everybody's role defines as the season goes on. But how do they use him in training camp when we go there next week? That's what I want to know.
Yeah. Well, when we first drafted Keon White, I was really, really high on him. And I do like most Patriots fans. I'll get on YouTube. I'll watch videos of the guy, watch their highlights, and I really liked what he brought to the table. I don't think that first year under Belichick he got on the field enough. I think Mike, you said it right. I don't think he had a defined role, and I think that may have stunted his growth a little bit. And then even last year, I think. He showed some flashes, but again, I think there was something missing in his development. I'm really high on Keon White. But I definitely like him better on early pass downs. I'm sorry, on early downs. Because on third down, like you said, you have the two defensive tackles who can.
What are you going to do?
At the defensive tackle, a guy that I'm really high on him. I'm not sure if you guys want to talk about him now, but in those passing sets, I like Caleb on Chason. I think he brings something to the table from a passing standpoint.
I'm telling you right now, he is like one of these guys who is going under the radar big time. If you've watched this guy's workouts recently, this guy is he's a house. This guy is a house, and he's very fast.
He was massively he was not used properly in Jacksonville. All right, just plain and simple. He was a first round pick, and he had all the skills of a bendy edge setter. You know what I mean?
He could be
the talent's there.
I like that. That's a great reference, man, because I think that him on third down he's going to do some damage. He really came on at the end of last season, and he really flashed that dominance. His handwork, I've done a little film on the guy. Like his handwork is like almost second to none. He can fool you with his hands, and he can do an inside out move. He has like a couple of different go-to things in his arsenal. Like, I think if he trains Braden Swinson to be like him, then they're both going to have, they're both similar players.
Couple LSU guys, you know?
There you go. Absolutely. So those guys, like, they fit that third down mold, and Keon White doesn't. So I agree with him. We're going to have to figure it out. Chaseon's going to come in on third downs. Harold Landry, is he going to be in on third down? We don't know. We know he's an early edge setter as well. And he had like 9 sacks last year. He didn't have a bad year or anything like that. He's just not as dynamic as some other guys, perhaps.
Yeah, he wins in different ways, for sure.
Yeah.
So
I think that should be a staple of the defense that we have this year, which is guys having a specific defined role and being able to flourish in those roles. So, you know, a guy like Keon White, I know that he said he didn't feel like he was really coached. If he can really accept the role that he's given and just really thrive in that role, I mean, pull him off on third down. Like, let's get a pass rushing set in there. And as long as we win, as long as we have success, I think everybody should be happy. So, you know, even down to, you know, Harold Landry, I think he can win on third down. You know, I think he can still rush the quarterback, but if it's a matter of saving him early in the game so that he can be fresh come third, fourth quarter, I think we have enough guys to move around to be able to accomplish it all too.
You have to have a stable. You have to have a stable of inside and outside guys. The defensive line is the linchpin of the defense. Anthony likes the trenches. I love the trenches, you know.
Yes.
So I feel like you got to keep guys fresh and active. And I think we have a good stable of people to do that. How their roles are going to end up shaking out is a completely different story. I mean, you could use any example. Keishon Boutte was a roster cut last year. Obviously a receiver. I'm talking about a different position, but he ended up being our number one receiver because he practiced his butt off.
Right.
You know, so cream rises to the top. So we're going to see next week in training camp who rises to the top and who's going to get those extra reps. We both love Braden Swinson. We think he was a steal at the in the fifth round. We think he was an absolute steal. So can we get this kid on the field? Are they going to coach him up? And like what Anthony said, the transparency. Mike Vrabel tells you what he wants you to do.
Yeah, it's clear.
He just tells you what he wants you to do. There doesn't have to be any sugar or fluff or anything to it. And with Mayo last year, and I love Gerard Mayo, and I have a lot of good things to say about him. But that coaching staff, the more we talk about it, was so incredibly underprepared that it just wasn't even funny in all phases, top to bottom, organizationally, on the field, off the field, on the plane, in the locker room, everything in the weight room, in the gym, everything was
press conferences. I mean, everything.
Yeah, everything. And
it was mismanaged.
Yeah, I get wanting to put your own, you know, fingerprint on the team, but don't completely change the way coaching has been done. You know, like I get it. You know, you want to be a player's coach and you want to, you know, do all these things, but I think he tried a little bit too hard to be a player's coach and not necessarily command that respect. I think Vrabel brings that good mix of I'm a player's coach, but I'll also get on your tail if you're not doing what I ask you to do as well.
Well, he's not going to be playing cards with the guys in the back of the plane after a loss. I can promise you that.
Right. Exactly.
You're totally right. He tried too hard. That's it. I mean.
Well, and he didn't create an identity that worked, and he shouldn't have been a head coach in the first place. But so the next thing, Ant, give me your next topic. I think I was you.
So something that I am looking forward to are the receivers. Okay, so specifically, who is going to So let's say Stephon Diggs. What does he have left in the tank? Can he be focused enough on the field to be a football player and not worried about stuff off the field, right? But also, you know, filling out the rest of the lineup, right? So you got Pop Douglas. You know, obviously he shows flashes. Can he be consistent enough to be a guy that we can rely on? As you just mentioned, Mike, Keishon Boutte, right? He definitely popped last year. You know, one of the things that I've said about the Patriots team over the last couple of years in general is we've kind of constructed our team to where it was maybe the NFL 10 years ago. We don't have those flash players, but now I think we're starting to see a commitment to getting those guys that can stretch the field, getting those guys that can make, plays after they've caught the ball, with the ball in their hands. So it's really that receiver group in total that I'm looking forward to seeing how can we gel together and develop.
I love it. I love it. I love this. This was the next topic I was going to talk about anyway.
Yeah, it's the clear, like, I think outside, which I agree. I think the offensive line, we let out with that. I think that's the most important. But then when it comes to like Drake May's success, you have to have good receivers. We saw what happened last year with, how many drops. I don't even know, like, I don't know the stats around, good balls versus drops, but it wasn't pretty. We all know it wasn't pretty. We don't need to look at the stats.
Let's ask Anthony a question. Anthony,
sure.
Who's starting at the X on week 1? Is it Matt Collins, Stephon Diggs, or Kyle Williams?
So week 1, I would prefer to have somebody who has some experience. So
Matt Collins.
I love. I wasn't going to go Matt Collins. I wasn't going to go.
I know. I'm jumping the gun.
I don't want to put the words in your mouth, but Matt Collins.
Matt Collins. So I think so. I would prefer. So I like Matt Collins on the outside. I do like Matt Collins on the outside. I think he's shown he can win those one-on-one battles. I think he's shown he's fast enough to be able to stretch the field. He's not a bad option to be able to be that week 1 X receiver. I think as we develop the offense more, I like an offense where we can get guys to be to move around. So Matt Collins is a guy that he probably has to stay in that X receiver. I'm not sure how much versatility he brings to the table.
No movement.
Right. So just keep him out there, and that's it.
Yeah. So is it going to be Kyle Williams? Because I think Stephon Diggs is a Z, and I think Kyle Williams is an X, even though he's undersized. Can he play X at 5'10"? Kyle Williams.
So Kyle Williams can play the X receiver. I think he's fast enough to be able to be able to play the X receiver. I believe he was one of the highest rated receivers coming out of college in terms of separation, which is something that you need to be able to play that receiver, that position. And the kid can just make plays, man. Like I love him as well. So I think he could be a good option there as well.
Yeah, he's got the quicks. I mean, Steve Smith, we've talked about this ad nauseum. Steve Smith compared him to himself, and Steve Smith thinks very highly of himself.
Yes, he does.
Of course.
and he was I think he ran a 4, I want to say a 4.5 or a 4.4 40, but he plays faster than that. I mean, this guy was the fastest recorded guy. I think he ran 22.5 miles per hour. So he's the fastest recorded guy on film. So he's a guy with the ball in his hands, like you said. I mean, his tape is littered with him just running away from people, which have we had? When's the last time we had that? Was it Randy
We haven't
Moss?
had that in a while. But Randy Moss and Kyle Williams from a body type, 2 completely different bodies.
Completely different animals.
Yeah.
Definitely.
So, Randy Moss is running away, but he's more of like a long strider. I think it's been a while since we've had a quick twitch guy that can run away and just, run past you.
If we've ever, I mean, Deion Branch, maybe, I don't know, a Deion Branch kind of like that, but not as.
So a name that comes to mind, and he didn't make a lot of plays, but he kind of fulfilled this role a little bit. Dante Stallworth. He was fast, I like that. Smaller, shifty, but yeah, it's to your point, it's been a while since we've had somebody to fill this role.
I heard the Brandon Cooks comp too, and I think that makes a lot of sense too. We had Cooks for a year or two. I think did he get hurt? He got hurt in the Super Bowl, right? He got concussed.
Yeah, he had a concussion.
He got concussed in the Super Bowl.
But he was kind of like that player, right? The deep threat that you could take a slant to the house, and he would be like, okay, yep, Brandon Cooks has smoked everybody.
That's a good comp. That's a good smaller X. So do we cut our second rounder from last year, Jalen Polk?
I am not high on Jalen Polk. Coming into the season last year, I was, I read everything on him. I studied on him. I said, he could win the 50-50 ball. But he had way too many drops. He didn't develop enough in my liking after 1 year. And I get it. There were some things going on with the coaching staff, but I think he's the odd man out. And I would like to see a little bit more out of Javon Baker, but I think that Jalen Polk, I mean, I think we have enough depth to where he can be the guy that we just let go.
It's really tough though. The guy was 37th pick overall.
It really does.
And we could have drafted Lad McConkey. Joe's never gonna let that go.
Every time I see Lad McConkey, I'll think Jalen Polk and Javon Baker, and it just kills me. But
there's a list of guys that we could have drafted.
Oh my god! If you go down the list,
it's like an open. Once you reopen that wound, like blood just keeps.
Yeah.
That can be a whole episode when we're feeling really bad about ourselves.
Exactly.
How about that? We're not going to do that right now.
If you go down the list, what are your top 5 receivers that we have? You know, and I think, where does he fit in?
Yeah,
he's not in the top 5.
He's not because then you got guys like Efton Chisholm, who just came out and lit up rookie camp and training camp as well. So it's OTA. Sorry. So, you know, to me, it's like top 5 for me. It has to be Stephon Diggs. It's got to be Pop Douglas. It's got to be Kyle Williams, I would say, even though he's not really proven yet.
No, he's a lock.
He's a lock.
100% lock.
And then you get into like Matt Collins, and I think I'd rather have Kendrick Bourne on the roster than
I love Kendrick Bourne, but we're looking at a numbers game here.
It's tough.
So
it's tough.
How many people are redundant in this specific system? There's a lot of guys that have
that's a good way to put it.
They have a lot of guys, the Z slot type of skill set. So who, again, I keep saying cream rise to the top in training camp.
This will be
who's going to rise to the top. You know, I love Kendrick Bourne. I want him around, but it might end up being a numbers game. I like Booty. He might end up being a numbers game. You know, I like Pop Douglas, but Anthony, I have a struggle here going on with Pop Douglas as far as the slot, specific to the slot position, because the things I've seen from Efton Chisholm are more natural for a slot than they are for Pop Douglas. Efton Chisholm knows how to sit down in the zone. I've talked to you about this many times. He knows the soft spots, and Pop Douglas seems to run through his routes. So what happens there?
He's running a drag. He's running the drag. He's not stopping. Right. There's not a lot of that nuance to his game, but with the ball in his hands, he can be, you know, electric. He can make people miss.
So I think Pop is a lock, but should Chisholm be a lock too, or no? I'm opening it up.
I think it's early. I think it's early to say he's a lock. I think he still needs to continue to get out there and prove himself in training camp. It's funny what you said about receivers sitting in the zone. That's one of the biggest struggles. You know, I coach high school football. That's one of the biggest struggles is getting the receivers to understand that your play conceptually before the ball is snapped, it's a concept, but once that ball snapped, it can change where you sit.
All
based
options,
on what the defense. There's a lot of options, and a lot of time it's a hard concept to get. So when you transition that to the NFL, you would think by that point that they would kind of have that concept down. But I'm really high on Pop Douglas. On Pop Douglas,
I love him too.
Yeah,
I love him.
We all are. I'm pretty sure. Yeah, like I have him. I haven't projected at 90+ balls. I mean, so I think
can see that.
I can totally see him being the top reception getter, maybe not yards, but the top reception getter in the whole offense. So
averagely 8 yards per, but he'll move chains. He'll move chains.
But I love it. I love that the fact that Efton Chisholm is challenging him directly at that role is amazing to me, because
maybe that'll teach him something.
Let's face it. I mean, he's got him, and this is Ramondre, and this is all these guys that are old, Patriot guys. I think, Ant, you said Kyle Duggar is the longest tenured
Patriot. Yeah.
So, I mean, you have him, and you have these guys that have been around for a year or 2, 3 years, but like they don't care about anything you've done. They've brought in people to up the competition level. Everyone, poo-poos on the receiver, saying, "Oh, we're talking about the 5th, 6th receiver. That's how bad the receivers are." It's like, I don't look at it like that. I look at it as you brought in guys that can compete and that can push these guys that have been around to be better. And if they're not, then get out of the way.
It's all about competition, baby.
Yeah. And, the reality is the NFL nowadays, that's 4 wide, it's 5 wide. So if you can have 4 or 5 guys that can win one-on-one battles at the receiver position, you can never have enough of that, especially when you've drafted your quarterback and you have your quarterback of the future. You want to surround him with as much talent as possible.
Exactly. I agree. Yeah. So the next topic that I want to talk about, and I think this is all near and dear to all of us, and this is going to be huge for this season, is just Vrabel in general. And I think we are all like starved for like that commander on the field, that guy that just commands respect. And obviously over the past few years, post Belichick, and even some of the later Belichick years, we weren't all really bought in for probably say the past 5
No,
years.
Belichick's been checked out since the day he met Jordan Hudson in 2020. That was in 2021.
That's what I'm saying.
Our trajectory has been like this ever since then. So
it's palpable. You can feel it going downhill.
Yeah, she's Yoko Ono. I'll stand by that.
That's funny.
But anyways, going back to Vrabel, Vrabel to me, I want to see him on the field. I want to see him calling people out, yelling at people, getting in people's faces. I want to see him, keeping a crisp offense. Yeah, what do you guys think? What do you look for?
I've talked about the guy so much. I mean, I am a lifelong Patriots fan. I'm a lot older than Joe Anthony, so I've seen a lot more of the stuff. I can remember Mike Vrabel when he was playing on special teams for the Steelers in 1997 in a playoff game that we lost 7-6 to the Steelers. So I've known this, and when we signed him, I took immediate notice of him in 2001. And when he carved out a role for himself, I've followed this man's career the whole entire time. And I think that he is an alpha, and I think he's a football genius. And I really do. And we've seen several examples, but the most famous one was when he kept taking like the delay of game penalties against, I don't know if you guys remember that, but against Belichick, he kept taking
with the Titans.
He kept taking a bunch of delay of games, and he killed the clock for Belichick.
And they changed the rule the next year or something.
Right?
I
think so. They might have.
Oh, yeah.
But the point is, Belichick was the master of situational football, and this guy outmastered him at situational football. So that really speaks to me, the fact that the guy knows cerebrally what's going on, but physically he still wants to get down and dirty with the players, and he's not afraid of any conversation at all. So anything that anybody has to say to that guy, they can say it. And that wasn't it wasn't like that with Belichick. He had the smallest
dictatorship. He was
the smallest staff in the whole
Kim Jong-il
league,
of the NFL,
and nobody could approach him. He had a buffer on everything. So we enjoy Vrabel. I thought he was incredibly successful with not great teams in Tennessee. I think he's going to be incredibly successful now that Kraft is letting him do whatever he wants. Just let him do whatever he wants. He's a good guy. He's a great coach. So that's my take on the whole Vrabel thing.
What do you think?
Yeah. And I 100% agree with you, Mike. I think, it's multi-level. So number one, he had success as a player. And I think that automatically builds clout in the locker room. This isn't some guy who is telling you what to do. He's not telling you to do something that he hasn't done himself. And obviously he's shown that he's still willing to go out there and do it. So he's had success as a player. He's had success elsewhere as a head coach. I think he got the most out of those Titan teams. They weren't the most talented teams, but from being organized, from being prepared for the game situations, I think he definitely squeezed all of the juice that he could have out of those Titan teams. But also he's an energy guy, man. And, Belichick, love him, right? Greatest coach in NFL history. He wasn't an energy guy. He was a accountability. This is how we're going to do it. My way or the highway type of guy. And then, when you transition from Belichick to Mayo, I think it was too drastic of a change from Belichick to Mayo. And I just think it was destined to not work out to begin with. So when you insert Vrabel into the equation, man, he's going to be the guy that's going to get out there and do the drills with you. He's a football savant. He knows the game. He's going to make sure that we're prepared. And I think the fact that he is going to hold the guys accountable, that's going to make them want to play for him. Because when you got a coach that's going to hold you accountable, you know that you're not going to slack off. Sometimes, especially the younger guys, they'll have a habit of wanting to test and see how far that they can go. So when they know that they can't get away with something, it has a way of building respect for the guy that's holding you accountable. So listen, I love this. As soon as we signed, as soon as the position was open, I wanted to sign Vrabel. As soon as we signed him, I love the pick. I think he's a guy that can be there for 10 plus years and bring us a lot of success.
That's a great analogy. Like the way you explain that. Kids push.
Yeah,
kids push.
Sure.
They try to see what they can get away with, and they got away with everything last year.
Last year was a free.
So they were they were running the whole thing, but now they're getting stonewalled. They're like, oh, okay, so it's not like that here now.
Not only are they getting stonewalled, they're getting shipped out.
Yeah,
like they shipped out everyone, all the team captains.
And I don't agree. I don't agree with all of that. I understand why he's doing it.
He took a hard stance. He said, "I'm gonna get any influence of this old regime out." and I'm going to bring in my people. He did it with the coaching staff. He did it with the scouting department. The whole everything's basically Vrabel's like, if I'm going to get another shot at this, I'm going to do it right, and I'm going to do it my way, and that's the only way it's happening.
Well, Joe, the unsaid thing about this entire part of this conversation, look at that sign over your shoulder. That's the standard, right?
Oh,
that's the standard.
Exactly.
That's the standard. And I think because, the last couple of years with Belichick, we weren't really that good. And then with Mayo, the team, wasn't that good. I think there's a tendency to think that we should lower the standard because the team's not there. No, Vrabel's coming in and he's resetting that standard for the team, and he's going to hold everybody accountable to that. And that's what I love about him. So
yeah,
I love it.
I'm with you on that. It's paramount to this whole season, this off season. Mike and I have said it 100 times. It's like the stars have aligned and everything's aligning correctly. We still have a lot of cap space, so we may or may not be done yet in signings, trades, who knows. But the trajectory of this team coming into this training camp, like, I don't know. I don't know what I'm going to do come training camp on Wednesday. I might just run through the fence. And
if only Kraft didn't promise Mayo that promise.
I know
he would have hired. We could have get an extra head start, an extra year head start.
I'm a believer in how things are supposed to happen, right? And I feel like we needed this. We needed that hard reset.
That was a hard reset.
It was a hard reset.
It was a hard reset. Yeah.
And then the cherry on top was winning that Bills game and not getting that first pick. Right. Yeah. And so, but to me, these things are all meant to happen, right? To me, this is all meant to a hard reset and then give Vrabel the full reins. Because maybe Vrabel would come in last year, but may not be as good of a transition. I don't know. Who knows, right? Who knows what would have happened if he.
I mean, I know he was eyeballing that job all last year when Mayo was fumbling around and messing it all up.
He called it out. He was in a press conference with it was the Hall of Fame. He got into the Ring of Honor or the
that's when that's what got him fired.
Yeah, he was like, there's no better organization or something like that. And it's
yeah. When he said that, I was like, this guy's gonna be our coach at 100%. Some point.
He knew. Yeah. I probably already had the conversation anyway.
And the season last year, it has a way, as you mentioned, it happened for a reason, but I think that is what made the team starved for the leadership. So maybe if he came in last year, maybe we wouldn't have appreciated what he was bringing to the table. But, I think, the fact that we didn't have the success and we weren't prepared and we, were kind of a joke in some situations. I think now the team is like, all right, now we can follow this guy because we know that he's here to lead us. So
we saw how far you can fall. We witnessed it, So maybe you guys are right. Maybe we needed that hard tough year in order to get right, and now we have things in order, and people have us at 8.5 over under 7.5. I saw a 7.5 today.
Yeah.
If we win less than 7 games, it's a disaster.
It's a disaster. I agree.
Or
we had a big injury or something.
Our schedule is cherry, dude. We're playing a bunch of teams that are right on our same talent level
or worse or way worse.
So the coaching is going to speak to a lot of it. I'm telling you that.
All right, last topic. I'm going to give it to Mike. Give us the last topic. We're at 52 minutes.
I don't really have a whole lot besides just talking about Drake May and the expectations and the pressure on him this year. We went way out of our way to not insulate him or create any competition. It's a better way to put it. We didn't create any competition.
Joe Milton, get out of here.
Get out of here. He's the guy. Yep.
We didn't draft anybody. We brought in Josh Dobbs, who is a very
he's comfortable being a backup.
He understands exactly what he is. You know what I mean? And then we have an undrafted kid, so he's a camp arm. So everybody's talking about the McDaniel system, how tough it is. The verbiage is different. Everything's different. So the first week of OTAs, Drake May throws 4 interceptions and whatnot.
Everyone lost their mind.
And then the second week, he's all squared away. So I think Drake May's a smart kid. I do think he's a franchise quarterback. And I like the fact that McDaniels is he said, I'm taking different things from different places that I've gone. I'm not going to run my own playbook. I'm going to run it with the aggregate of the different things that I've seen. And in my head, I'm like, just don't run like designed quarterback runs. Okay,
Right.
Yeah.
don't get the
Protect
kid
the
hurt.
quarterback. Protect the quarterback.
He can run on his own. If he wants to run, he can run. He can run on his own.
Yeah.
But Anthony, I would like to see like what you think. Do you think he's going to flourish like in the Josh McDaniels system?
I think so. I was at the Titans game in Nashville last year.
I was there too. We both were there.
Yes,
we didn't know
yes.
it.
We just missed each other.
Wow.
Yes,
Yeah,
we just missed each other.
Weird.
Yeah. So, so part of the reason why I bring up that game is, he had to lead the offense down, get that drive, that game tying drive to take it to overtime. And there were several moments throughout the season where I'm like, all right, this kid can play, right? I love the fact that he can make plays off script, which I think is needed at the NFL level. I think having the offensive line solidified is going to help him to stay in the pocket a little bit more and feel a little bit more comfortable in the pocket. But more specifically about the Josh McDaniels system, he's really great at scheming guys open, which I'm not sure if we got a lot of that last year. So in terms of the progression of Drake May, I think he can go through his progressions a lot easier. Hey, read number 1, read number 2, maybe get to read number 3 before you start, taking off. And
Well, there's answers to the test, right?
Right.
Like Josh
exactly.
McDaniels. Yeah. Okay.
Exactly. And I think that it's important to get those reps in. So to your point, I wasn't really too torn up about the 4 interceptions. I understand that it's because, as we're reading it, it says 4 interceptions, but did the receiver run the wrong route? Was there miscommunication? Like, there's so many different things that can go into that, that could lead to those interceptions. So I'm really high on Drake May, man. I think he's going to have a good second year. He does need to cut down on the turnovers, right? What do you have? 10 interceptions, 9 fumbles last year. If he can cut down on that, take care of the ball a little bit more, I think he's going to have opportunities to not only make plays with his arm, but also make plays with his legs as well. I think Josh McDaniels' offense has progressed. He's taken things from different stops that he's been, and I think we're going to get the best Josh McDaniels' offense from a development standpoint. Obviously, the players are a little bit different, so I don't think it's going to be the biggest success from that standpoint. But I think we're going to get the best of Josh McDaniels from there.
He looks great. I mean, he lost a ton of weight playing pickleball.
Yeah.
And I think he
McDaniel?
he looks like
40
or 50
look.
pounds
I mean, sometimes you have to fail 50 times to succeed the 51st time. So
yes, I love it.
That's kind of where he's coming from. He's like, he knows his role now. I hope they made him sign a disclosure agreement that he can't go head coach somewhere else because it's not going to work out either way. But the fact that his offense always has an answer. Tommy always had an answer. And I was telling you, when Matt Patricia ran the offense, they'd be like, all right, this option's not there. What do we do with option B? They're like, we'll just figure it out. We'll get back to that. We'll get back to that.
That doesn't work in the NFL.
You know what I mean? On the sidelines in real time, you're talking like that. Like, what are you, crazy?
He's a rocket scientist, though.
So Josh McDaniels is going to put, like he said, like, it's matchup specific. He takes away. He's gonna, like, for example, week 1 is what? The Raiders.
Yep.
I promise you that if Travion Henderson is under contract, he's going to be chipping Max Crosby because that's going to be Josh McDaniels' mandate that you take care of that guy. You don't let him dunk. You don't let him go. He will expose a weakness and use it against you. And I can't wait to see how Drake May uses that knowledge with his ridiculous talent.
Yeah, he's gonna do the same thing that Tom Brady did as far as, okay, call out the mic, look for make a few checks, see what they do. Are they following? Are they pulling back? Are they coming in? Make your reads and then make adjustments. And then call the play. I mean, that's Josh McDaniels and Tom Brady did that for however many years.
So once he gets that down, I think it's going to be sky's the limit. I really do.
It comes down to him and the center as well. That's a huge, between Drake May and the center. You got to have a good connection there between who's going to be calling the protections.
But I also have to agree with Anthony that Drake May needs to protect the ball a little bit better because I could explain, like we explained, Ramondre's fumbling, bad line play and whatnot. But you still have a fundamental responsibility to protect the football. And Drake May needs to have that as well. Yep. I understand plays break down. You can't put it all on the offense. You have to be a little bit smarter and a little bit
throw
reckless.
balls in the dirt,
That-
hold the ball.
Yes.
to
Yeah,
the
that-
knee, all
yes.
these things, right?
That's probably the only real criticism I can give him right now. He has got to do his job on that a little bit more.
Specifically
and
to
that's all.
training camp, though, what I want to see him do is let it fly. I want to say, and I don't care if he throws picks. That doesn't matter to me.
I don't care about that. I care about careless football in the pocket.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
You don't wave it around when people are friggin' flying all over your
Right.
face. Man.
Exactly.
You
But
tuck that thing up. If you want to take a shot and throw a pick, go right ahead. I'm
Yes.
not mad at you.
Yep.
But if
Yeah.
you're back there dancing around with the ball in one
yeah,
hand,
step up in the pocket, make a throw. If it gets picked, and hey, guess what? It's practice.
Was it the
He
right
gives him
decision?
pick.
Was it the right
Right.
decision? I think that's the biggest thing that we can build off of from last year to this year is like, okay, are you making the right decision? Is it the right decision on time? That Titans game I was at, that the interception in overtime that ended the game, it was the right decision. He was just a little bit late with it. So it's
Yeah.
it's can you get the ball out on time? Like Mike said, can you protect the ball in the pocket? Because defensive line they get paid too to take the ball away from you, so they're gonna be swiping at it. But more importantly, can we stay ahead of the chains? Like let's not make careless mistakes. Let's keep the ball moving down the field.
he's got to work on it. There's no other way to put it.
Has to work
Yeah.
on it, and then they'll definitely coach him into that as well. So, all right,
Yeah.
guys, we're over an hour here. This has been a great episode. We are coming into hot and heavy into the season. We got
Love it.
Forge and Foxborough on Friday. It's almost a 2-hour episode for Forge and Foxborough episode 2. So we're going to be reading through the tea leaves there. There's going to be a bunch of
Nice.
different stuff we see there. I like the teaser with Peppers. That was really cool. But yeah, next week we're going to be hitting it hard. And thank you so much for jumping on last minute.
My
I know
pleasure,
it was
guys.
kind of impromptu, but you're a great
All good.
guest. You know,
Thank
it's
you.
great having diehard fans on here because I think that's what people like to see, right?
Absolutely. It was fantastic. Fantastic.
Absolutely. I appreciate you guys. Thanks for having me on.
Awesome. Thank you guys so much.
LFG.
LFG, baby.
LFG. See you guys.